Delanco Township Committee meeting of August 21st, 2023, beginning at 7 p.m. at the Delanco Township Municipal Building, 770 Coopertown Road, Delanco, New Jersey.
We're recording.
We're recording?
We should be recording. Let me see. Go ahead.
You hear me? Test 1, 2, 3.
I hear you.
You hear me? All right. Very good.
Loud and clear.
All right, I'll call this meeting of the Delanco Township Committee for August 21st to order. This is Laura. Can we roll call, please?
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Mr. Ouellette.
Here.
Ms. Seuss. Here. Mr. Templeton.
Here.
Ms. Fitzpatrick is absent.
All right, also present Mr. Schwab, our Township Administrator, Mrs. Laura, Municipal Clerk, Lieutenant Warren, filling in for Chief Tilger, and Ms. McFadden, Administrative Assistant. Would everyone please stand for the flag salute?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have the sunshine statement, please, Janice.
Please be advised that proper notice of this meeting has been given in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act in the following manner. Written notice has been mailed to the Burlington County Times and Courier Post and published in the January 4th, 2023 editions. Written notice has been posted on the official bulletin board of the Township of Delanco at least 48 hours prior to the meeting.
Thank you. All right, meeting open to the public for questions and comments. This is session number 1. Just give your name and address for the record, please.
Hello, everyone. Cameron Jenkins, 415 3rd Street, Delanco. Last year, I recently bought a house on Willow Street, 225 Willow Street, and before I purchased the house, the previous owner, the executrix for the property, in her infinite wisdom, as is sale, decided to get it COH inspected, even though I had no intention to reside in it upon purchasing immediately. We failed, obviously. If anyone drove by the house, you would have seen why it failed. It was in a rather poor state of disrepair. Since then, I reviewed the township code, and I think it was about 60 or 90 days after purchasing where I was notified about reapplying for the COH inspection, which I knew was fine. I knew I had to get it anyway. I hadn't planned on residing in the property until I reapplied and got the COH inspection cleared, and I fixed the issues that was wrong with it in the first place. I made my case with Jessica Husband, the COH coordinator, I believe her term is, and Ed Mugiano, the code enforcement official. We had a back and forth for several months until the end of June, where I was summoned to July court. July court, I pled my case with the judge, and he pushed my date back where we'd come and revisit the issue for the August court date, and I came back to the August court date last Wednesday, and the judge, we couldn't reach an agreement. I stated my case to the judge. I currently, with my mortgage, is about 66% of my monthly income from my full-time job, so with the money that's left, I've slowly been making the changes to the house. First and foremost, in November, we fixed the roof. That was quite a big fee right there. That cost a lot of money for anyone that's had a roof put on recently. So since then, I've been using the remaining 33% of my monthly income best I can to make the repairs to the house that were notified on the last inspection last year before it was sold to me. Unfortunately, an agreement wasn't made at the court date. I couldn't reason with the judge or the prosecutor, so now I will be returning for the September court date for a trial for the matter. The reason I bring this up to the Township Committee tonight is I'd like the Township Committee in the future to perhaps discuss making a possible change to their E-code for it. I stated my case with the code enforcement officer, Jessica Husband, that I'm all in favor of getting the COH inspection when the time comes when I want to move into the property. But until then, there wouldn't be a point in me to pay the $100 fee to have the application and then them come in and fail me anyway. because I haven't made the changes in the time frame, only to wait another 30 to 60 days, reapply for another $100, and then pay the, and then get failed again, because unfortunately it's a rather slow process when you're repairing pre-existing damage and faults yourself. So if possible, I'd like the township to look into that, maybe making it, if you have no plans to move into the house immediately, to get the COH inspected, make it so there's like no time frame, or a more reasonable time frame given circumstances. That's all I have to say about it. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Jenkins. Anyone else? Comments?
Ray Weber, 22 Ships.
How are you doing, Ray?
You'll seem to know me.
Your new best friends.
Yes. I'm here about, we had talked to John Fenimore and sent him a voice message because the owners of Newton's Landing trying to keep their fees down. We have a common area on Pennington Court, which the builder installed or put in a couple hundred trees on 2 lots. I'm saying a couple hundred trees on 2 lots. And they've half of them or 3/4 of them have died. So the owners, they didn't grow because they don't get any light. They're tucked in there. The owners went about and cut down a lot of the dead stuff, trimmed out some of the stuff, and put it all along Pennington Court, figuring the township public work guys would come around and pick up the brush, would pick it up. I received a phone call this morning from John Fenimore at 10:15. I was in Virginia at the time.
Make good time.
I'm back up here. I answered all phone calls anymore, it seems like. Anyway, John called me he can't pick them up because it would take him a little over a half a day, he's saying, to pick up all the limbs and everything else that we cleaned out of there, as well as, he says he's only allowed to use 20-minute time frame in a certain area and stuff. I said, okay, and I forward the other information, all that information to the other 3 members of the board here. They're here tonight about it. And we wanted to find out what solutions do we have with this. One other thing, the township is supposed to come around this week and collect brush. They didn't come into Newton's Landing because we've got a couple of trees that people took down themselves on their properties from the storm a couple of weeks ago.
Do you know if they called in to get on the brush pickup list?
I don't know.
I
can't answer that question. I don't know.
Is that certain? That's on all the information that's sent out when you want brush pickup. You're supposed to call by the Friday before to get on the list, but just so you're aware for the future. But as far as the picking up of the other items in the 20-minute time frame, I'm not familiar with that. Are you, Richard?
Well, that's considered reasonable. Usually, if you have that quantity, if they have to spend a half a day there, they can't do anything else. So that's just considered, I think usually the rule is reasonable, and that's what they generally use as. So that's something you've got to, people have huge amounts, you have to pre-discuss that. You can't just dump it out and expect it. That's the general rule.
We contacted John.
And he said okay? He said okay in advance?
He didn't ever respond back to the voice message that was left to him a couple of weeks ago, before we did it. So that's the reason why we had
to follow up with anybody else.
Did that.
I don't know.
Yes. Convince Cipriano to come up, Mr. President.
Yeah. Come on up and just give your name and address for the record.
Sure. Vince Cipriano, 83 Pennington Court. I'm the one that called a couple weeks beforehand to make sure we had coverage, because I knew we had a big deal to do. So I left a very detailed message as it asked on the machine, told him who I was, my position on the board, and that the residents would like to clear out that, but not before we had it okay. She would pick it up. Because if you ride by Pennington Court, it looks pretty poor. So I said, please call at the earliest convenience in my number. I got nothing. It's okay, because if I'm on the list, that's okay. Ray, as you know pretty well, he's always involved with you guys, and he's our liaison. He said, talk to John, he'll pick it up the 22nd. I said, my job is done here. That's the true whole story about it. So I'm very upset because if you had told us, we're not doing that, that's too much to do. We would have had, 10 people do 3 days of work and clear it out. We'd have done 20 minutes at a time or something. And we're not done. We're not going to work enough to. But that's why I'm really upset with the fact that we were told, yeah, you're okay.
Who told you that you're okay? John actually spoke to you, Ray, and said it was okay?
Last meeting, he called back, he said,
Oh, okay. Oh, I thought you said
And he
you had
does a
spoken.
terrific job. He's been here 103 years.
I know.
This has nothing to do with, no. But we would not have done all that work. And,
Later on, I'll mention, I mean, with the storm, John had a lot more than that to deal with, and maybe the best thing would have been to get back and say, guess what? Normally, I would have been able to do it under normal circumstances, but your timing is terrible. Maybe that's it. So we got to deal with John tomorrow, and we'll have discussions, figure out what we can do.
just make sure, I want to make sure there's nothing against anybody. It was like, we proceeded kind of rationally because we don't want to work with that.
Well, the other thing would be if you know you've got a big cut like that coming for this area, I'm looking at it on the aerial photo, the HOA should hire a contractor to chip it.
$750,000 worth of taxes for.
Well,
Come on.
No,
No, please
No.
don't go there. Please don't go there.
why not?
Because why can't you pick it up? That's part of the brush pickup.
Because you're the HOA for your community, we're the HOA for Delanco, for
So you
2,000.
can't give us anything extra. In other words, we have to do all of our own stuff.
You want-
Like plowing and whatever.
You want extra.
Extra, pick up the brush.
You want extra.
Absolutely.
You're special, you need special treatment.
Absolutely. $750,000 goes right from you guys, from us,
Yeah.
every year.
And the rest of town doesn't mean anything.
I'm just telling you what we
The rest
need.
of town doesn't mean anything.
Well, why are you so upset? Is this hurting your feelings that we want something extra?
Well-
Do we ever bother you guys for anything? What do we bother you for? Nothing.
Every month.
Thank you, Mr. Cyprian.
He bothers you?
So, Richard, you'll talk to John tomorrow?
Yeah, we'll talk tomorrow. I mean, I don't know, Ray talked to John, so I was not part of that, so that conversation, whatever happened, it might have been
I don't
before
know.
that storm that got John.
after the storm.
Is that, and John said no problem.
Yeah,
Huh,
after the storm.
I'm surprised.
I don't think he realized how much we were taking down.
I don't think he would have. He knew that, I think, just doesn't sound like John.
That's what it is.
Okay.
yeah, it's just, I mean, and the 20 minutes and the amount isn't something arbitrary. It's actually regulated in Chapter 135, so, there's nothing, the 20-minute thing that was said and, there's amount and everything is actually codified in the code. So that's, because in order to be able to address the whole town, they're,
Make sure he knew the whole thing in parts.
I can't address that. I'm just, saying it's nothing arbitrary. It's nothing arbitrary.
All right, so Richard will talk to John tomorrow, and
Yeah.
we can reach back out to Ray or...
Yeah, we'll get John, get you guys back together again.
All right.
You have to keep communicating. What date, when was this stuff put out? What date?
10 days ago or so.
10 days ago or so. Let's see, today's 21st, so.
We worked Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, so I was away last week, so weekend before last Monday.
So I think today is the
So like the
first
12th to
day
13th.
of regular brush pickup. So not the whole town's not gonna get done in today.
No.
We've already had a lot of calls this morning about brush, and I guess people thought they would be there first thing this morning, since it started Monday, but
You can't
they
get all
do a
done at
sweep
once.
of the
whole
town,
week.
and it can take quite a while, particularly post-storm, can take
Thank you
quite
for
a
your
while.
patience.
Yeah, we're sorry we didn't clean up everything that you put out.
Does,
Yeah, the storm was on the 7th. And you put this stuff out 3 or 4 days later? Yeah, approximately. I mean, so it was after the storm. After the storm, and John had 27 other trees. Coincidentally, at the time you talked to Ray, the storm hadn't happened, right?
Well, I was here even after the storm.
Oh, that was that night, that's right, that was that. So he had no idea, that's right, that was that night. So he had no idea that he was gonna end up having,
Quantity.
a year's worth of brush to do in 1 week. coincidentally. If that hadn't happened, perhaps he would have had time to do it. Yeah,
That's
so.
the problem, please, sir. When we're talking, we're not going to have it done, that's a big difference. And this is, okay, said, that we have to pay for it done, that's a big difference. Saying we're not going to have it done, that's not acceptable. Saying we're going to be a couple more weeks, okay?
Well, that's the kind of thing we'll have to discuss.
Do that, but you're saying please do it, that's all. Please be aware of that.
Right. We'll discuss with John. We'll reach back out. Thank you. Are there any other members of the public who has any comments or questions at this time? And we will be doing another session toward the end. All right. We will move on to comments and reports, starting with Mr. Schwab.
Yeah, a couple minor things. One is that I think you all got, John isn't here, so the storm damage report from that storm, that a couple trees at Pennsylvania Union, a couple trees at Ash, a limb at Second Walnut. We got Union Avenue, Second, Delview, Larchmont, that shade tree expert has to look whether or not. Another one at the end of Larchmont, the West Avenue T-ball field is one down in the West Avenue trails, 7 to 10 trees down. So that's at a minimum what he has since that point in time.
There were 17 at the trails. There were 7
Oh, I'm
and
sorry.
another 10, yeah.
17 total,
17.
7 down, and he's estimating 10 or more in the woods. And one of the issues about the woods is it's the lower priority. As much as we like to make sure that it's done, if you're going to put time in, you get it off the street before you deal in the woods. But that is an issue to be discussed. The other thing is that I'm following up on the backyard hen ordinance, because you have to set up a hen advisory board. And in order to do that, we have to determine who's qualified. I talked to Gwen, who's our advisor on that, and 2 out of 3 people that have the hens have completed their classwork and could be qualified. She says she'll give us the information, and one is she's working on that. So by your next meeting, hopefully have that information for you, and then one of you should be the liaison so you can get that hen advisory board appointed and operational, so that then permits can be issued. So I'm working with Gwen, Janice, and Bev, and try to see if we can get that information to you so we can get this thing moving along. And the last thing was, today I saw in my email when I walked in just before the meeting, if you know, we're part of a statewide energy aggregation self-insurance fund. It's like the casualty self-insurance fund, but this is for energy aggregation. And those of us who are members hire a professional who goes out to bids for both natural gas and electric. The electric one, and generally there are 12 to 15 to 18 month contracts. They went out to bids in September 22nd, and due to the market conditions, could not get any lower than what PSE&G charges us. This is the supply, not the delivery. Mm-hmm. They kept going out to bids over and over again, and under the law, after you've done X number of times, you can negotiate. So now they went back to the people to negotiate, and they finally have a company called DT Retail Energy, who I think has been somebody in the past that they've had, who is willing to give all of us, as part of this thing, a 4% reduction in the standard rates for street lighting and 3.6 for all other buildings for a 13-month or 18, big long thing. Anyhow, the bottom line is that it appears that we now have the ability to save something rather than continue to pay the base rate. And there's also, we'll have to look into, there's an enhanced renewable energy product that can save you another 5% that they're now offering. And as I said, I just got this today and haven't even read it. So I'm making that report, and then we'll get back to you as to what things to do. In the meantime, we automatically, starting in October, we'll be getting this 3 to 4% reduction in our rate for the supply side of our electricity, and then we'll find out about this extra 5%, what that entails.
Take what we can get.
So working on it. That's all I have.
All right. Department heads. Start with Lieutenant Warren.
To date, as of Friday, for department statistics, total motor vehicle violations were 15. Total calls for service were 514. Total motor vehicle stops were 41, with 6 adult arrests, 7 for fugitive contempt. We actually had a new hire orientation last Thursday. Out of that group, we were able to select 5. We're going to be sending, obviously, 2 to the October 30th start of the Atlanta County Police Academy. So Thursday, we actually have a scheduled PT test down in Atlanta County. So those 5 will go down there. They have opportunity to pass the first test. If they pass the first test, they're good to go. If they don't, there'll be a second one on September 23rd. If they pass that, then they're clear to proceed with the process. So we'll see how they do on Thursday. They appear to be in shape. He said they're ready, so we'll see how it goes. Patrolman Mark Connor completed FTO program, so he's now working full-time schedule. He's doing well. One of the things the chief wanted me to bring up, we spoke about this before on other meetings. For the quickest response, we're encouraging residents, you have to call 911 or the non-emergency number. The tip email line is not monitored 24/7. It's impossible for us to do. So we encourage 911 or the 856-461-1515 number. But when those incidents are happening, there's not much we can do outside of, a miracle. 5 days later, for someone who cut through your property, or 5 days later for a suspicious-looking person, because they're gone. Call us when it happens. We get somebody out there. But it's still not happening. People are telling us after the fact. And we're getting phone messages again way after the fact. So, and you're you're talking to your constituents, please remind them, hey, call when it happens.
We do.
Absolutely.
We do.
But other than that, that's all we have. Everything else is going pretty well.
All right. Thank you, Bess.
Lieutenant, are you the conditioning and strength coach for the new applicants to get them up to speed, or how's that work?
Pretty much, I go over and let them know what to expect. I think one of the issues that we've seen in the past is that you'll have someone say, and Richard knows, or interviews, someone will come and say, I've been wanting to be a police officer for so long. Like, how long is how long? Like, for years. Okay. What type of regimen are you currently involved in for physical fitness? And they'll say nothing. And going over the days where years ago, they took you as you were, and you got in shape along the way. They stopped that. If you can't pass the basic of their test, which consists of a 70-meter run, 24 push-ups in a minute, sit-ups in a minute, a mile and a half in under 15 minutes, 55 seconds. And a vertical jump is only 15 inches. That's high off the ground. If you can't pass that, then it's not happening. And
no problem.
we've had people that told us, yes, last week it happened. Guy got up and I'm not going to do it.
I just broke a sweat thinking of that.
Pretty much. You saw him. I'm telling them, you got to, even at the 24 push-ups in a minute, that's nothing. For people who should be, this is what they aspire to do. And they're young and healthy. And so, but again, like I said, the group that we selected the other day, okay, they should be able to handle it. So we have 2 in the academy now that are doing great. They're graduating on the 28th of September. They both are done really, really well.
That's awesome.
Shining, Ashley. They're doing great. They're doing exceptionally well. So we're happy about that. So, but yeah, we'll see.
And the school's starting up soon as far as crossing guards. How's that?
Yeah, so for crossing guards, we do, it's actually scheduled for September 5th. We'll do at the beginning of the year our training. We'll have them come in here, have some pizza for them. We'll go over anything, which is really nothing new has come out from the state. We'll just reiterate, what we expect from them. And if they have any questions or issues or concerns, we'll go from there. We have one prospective candidate who we actually hired in the school last year, and he had a knee issue he was getting taken care of. So we'll have another person this summer, or in the fall rather. So how he does. So hopefully we can get at least 1 or 2 more on as substitutes. But yeah, as soon as they're ready to go, we see them around town with Sunday waves. So they're excited.
And do you do any? Is there any for the students crossing safety and routes to school?
That's through the school.
Okay.
Yeah, but we're specific for the crossing. Our job is primarily then make sure they know what to expect, what to do, what not to do. One of the issues a lot of the crossing guards were having, even statewide, we found out, Like, our crossing guards are not to stop traffic. They're supposed to wait. It's the way we would, when you cross the street, you wait for a law on that traffic to safely cross. But that's what they're supposed to do when they're crossing children. But we're getting reports that, not in our town, thank you, but in other towns, crossing are actually stopping traffic. And we don't want nothing to do. They're not covered, nor do they have the training. So, but thankfully our hours are, they pay attention and follow the rules. So we're doing pretty good.
Thank you.
Yeah, the student safety patrol, they usually start a few weeks in. My son's one of them and is looking forward to it again.
Because yeah, that Walnut Street, they have their safeties as well.
Yeah, yep, that's where he'll be this year. All right, Mrs. Laura, anything from the town clerk's office?
Yeah, we received a notice of that this year's 2024 League of Municipalities Annual Conference and educational sessions will be held from November 14th through the 16th, so 14th, 15th, and 16th of November. And we have pre-registration from August 1st to September 30th, so I'm going to put a copy in everybody's bin. If you'd like me to pre-register you, and for the first time in history of the League Conference, they are charging for spouse partner attendance. It always was no charge if you were a spouse or partner of a governing body, elected official, but now they are charging. And for early registration, it's $10 for your spouse or partner. So I will put a copy in everybody's bin. I can pre-register everyone as a group rather than individual under the early bird registration. And that's all I have to report right now. We do have some events coming up later in October with a shredding day, cleanup day. Public Works was the same day as shredding. And we'll have a community day at the firehouse. And that's about it for now.
All right. Thank you very much, Janice.
You're welcome.
All right, we will go to the consent agenda items. Consent agenda items are considered, no?
Township committee?
Oh, yeah, I forgot. And first meeting in charge.
skip you
Someone
guys.
give Kate a call, tell her to come back.
Skip you guys.
All right, let's go to township committee reports. Carolyn, for calling me out first, you get to go first.
Thanks. Thank you, Mr. Bartlett. I attended the Delanco Joint Land Use Board meeting on Tuesday, August 1st. There were 2 resolutions for master plan consistency review. One was to modify the I-3 zone and the other one was for the solar energy system. There was one application for a variance for a gazebo, but it was a use variance, so I did not participate in that. Ultimately, it was denied. I also attended the meeting and photo opportunity with Senator Troy Singleton on Friday. With Mr. Bartlett was there as well, Mr. Ouellette and Ms. Lohr, to present the $250,000 check that was granted to our town through the New Jersey budget for lights to improve the Field of Dreams soccer fields. So we were very grateful for that stipend and look forward to working on that project, getting that off the ground in the next, year or so. That's all I got. I did attend the recreation meeting as well, listened to what was going on with them. They are going to have a trunk or treat event and movie night on October 28th at Field of Dreams, or the Field of Dreams complex, but they're going to use the new, what are we calling that?
The multi-purpose
The
field.
multi-purpose
The
field.
event lawn. The event lawn is what Scott likes.
So we're going to use the new event lawn, which is behind the softball field, which is wide open. And we're going to have the trunk or treat, and then Hocus Pocus is going to be the movie for that night.
All right.
And soccer is underway, and that's all I got.
All right, thank you, Carolyn. Vern?
I don't have much to report this month. Did attend the county commissioners meeting. Nothing really to report there. This week is restaurant week, so get out and support your local restaurants. I'm sure we do through the course of the year, but this week specifically, get out there and support them. And that's all I have, sir.
All right, thank you, Vern. Mike?
You usually go on for much longer.
It's summertime.
Summertime, that's right.
Well, thank you, Vern, in that case.
What was, Matt, what was your number?
You got 3 minutes, Mike.
All right, I got 3 minutes. Let's see, I'll shorten this up. I went to court last week. I was a spectator and not a participant, and it's always very interesting municipal court. Let's see, the Environmental Board, we've got a meeting with some county folks this week to discuss a location for the Trex bench that the Environmental Board was awarded for collecting plastic over the last 6 months. Past couple days and week, I've been back and forth with Mr. Fox, our Township Engineer, and Senator Troy Singleton's office and Representative Congressman Andy Kim's office on some difficulties we've been having with the permitting between the Corps of Engineers and the DEP at the state on various issues, and so hopefully we can break that logjam. There's a couple significant issues that it's just frustrating. And just a correction on Ms. Seuss's comment on the budget award from the state. It's for Creek Road, or the Creek Road Park improvements. It's not specific to lighting, and because the Township Committee has not considered any lighting project there, so
Is there not lighting in our capital budget for $750,000?
No, it's just for Creek Road Park improvements.
That's not what's in our budget.
That's what the state.
Well, someone might want to tell the senator that, because he's expecting lights to go there.
Yeah.
Not anymore.
All right, well, we'll see about that. So you got Mike. All right. I guess it'll be my turn. I attended the fire company meeting on July 24th. Normal business occurred, and same for the fire commission meeting the following night. I attended a meeting with a few of the Board of Education members, as well as the superintendent and their business administrator, along with Mr. Schwab, on August 7th. There really is not much to report out of that meeting. However, at the Board of Ed public meeting 2 nights later, on the 9th, it was announced that Mr. Mersinger has submitted his resignation, and he will be leaving the district as of October 1st. The Board of Education currently has a posting for an interim superintendent while they go through the search and hiring process for a permanent replacement. So needless to say, the conversations they were going to have over the next few months regarding his contract renewal will no longer be occurring, but it'll be a much different conversation with getting someone into the district who could bring it back to what it once was. And some other good news out of the Board of Ed meeting, that 2 new members were interviewed, and they seemed really impressive, and I think they're going to be a good fit to the Board of Ed. Their names are Joanne Schlindenwein and Michael McNeil. They're going through the background check process right now with the Board of Ed, and hopefully they should be sworn in at the next meeting on October 30th. And as mentioned, that is the next scheduled meeting next Wednesday. Did I say October? August 30th.
August.
August. I'm trying to rush the year already. Halloween. Next scheduled Board of Ed meeting is next Wednesday, August 30th at 6 p.m. It's a special meeting that was added to discuss anything that needs to be approved before the school year starts just 1 week later, much to the parents' delight. August 15th, I attended the Burlington County Regional Chamber of Commerce Public Policy Council meet and greet breakfast. They had that over at RCBC in Mount Laurel. There was really no agenda. It was just an informal gathering for mayors and deputy mayors and other administrators from the area towns, as well as some officials from Joint Base. Also that evening, I attended Delanco's Economic Advisory Council meeting, and there was a lot discussed about the future of the council due to a lack of interest from membership and getting new members on the council, and currently a lack of current need, so we'll be discussing that more over the next few months. Last Friday, I attended a webinar entitled Heat and Hurricanes and Extreme Weather Preparedness. It was hosted by Congressman Andy Kim, Frank Pallone, and Congresswoman Bonnie Watson-Coleman. There was a lot of presentations from the National Weather Service, from FEMA, and the Board of Public Utilities, including discussions of heat risks as we're ending the end of the summer now, and of course hurricane risks and hurricane preparedness. And the BPU, that's the Board of Public Utilities, they spoke about power restoration and the priorities when, let's just say, God forbid, we have a hurricane that knocks out the county, the priorities on how public service would bring it back. You have emergency facilities like police stations, courthouses, jails come first, and then they talked about how main transmission lines that feed areas, and then all the way down to your lines going to your house, because you have to have everything up before you can start fixing all the locals. So there's a whole priority. So with hurricane season here, just keep that in mind. And there's a presentation that was given to us. Once I get that from their office, I'll send that to the committee members so you guys all have. And finally, Friday after that webinar, as Carolyn mentioned, I attended the Field of Dreams presentation from Senator Singleton, giving the ceremonial check in the amount of $250,000. And you could disagree with it, Mike, but it was a grant for field lighting. And it's huge for our town. It will go a long way to get some lighting at the fields without the need for those diesel-powered generators. So thank you to Troy from all of us. And that's all I have. Kate asked me to send her regards. She didn't have anything to report. She had some surgery a couple weeks back that she is recovering from, and she hopes to see everybody soon. Now we'll go to the consent agenda.
If I could add one thing to what Matt mentioned on the school board meeting, there's the added meeting on, August 30th?
Correct.
Right, it's still going on. This is important. The public needs to have their voice heard, needs to show up. Whether you got kids in school or not, our school system, our district has declined in their performance over the last 6 or 8 years, and this impacts everybody. It impacts property values. It affects, most importantly, how well the children of this community are prepared to go forward in life. When you've got an elementary school, out of 1,345 elementary schools in the state of New Jersey, and the Delanco Elementary School is ranked 1,300th. That's pretty bad. So people need to show up, whether you got kids here or not, in the school system. That affects you, and it's just tough that our kids just aren't getting the quality education that we're paying big dollars for. You hear we're paying within a couple $100 of what our neighboring towns are paying. Cinnaminson, Delray, and Morristown, per capita per student. And it's just not showing up in what our kids are getting. And it takes a community. It's from the leadership at the school district, the parents, the students, and the teachers. There has to be a collective desire that there is a higher standard, and where we are right now is not good. So, thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I do echo those comments. If you are available, please come out to the school board meeting next Wednesday night, August 30th, at the Pearson School, 1301 Burlington Avenue. All right. Consent agenda. Consent agenda items are considered to be routine and will be enacted with a single motion. Any item requiring discussion will be removed from the consent agenda. All consent agenda items will be reflected in full in the minutes. Is there anything on here that anybody would like pulled from the consent agenda?
No.
No, we're good other than the minutes, which I have to abstain on.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yep.
they're separate.
All right, Resolution 2023-101, a resolution authorizing and endorsing an application to the Burlington County Cultural and Heritage Affairs History Grant Program. Resolution 2023-102, authorizing disposal of out-of-service office equipment. Resolution 2023-103, authorizing one handicap parking space on Mulberry Street for number 615 Mulberry Street. Payment of bills, current fund, $847,875.20. Payroll, $108,753.18. The dog fund, $30. Escrow trust, $4,208.25. Approval of department reports. We have a motion for approval of the consent agenda.
So moved.
Second.
Carolyn and Mike, okay. Mrs. Law, roll call, please.
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes?
Mr. Olet.
Yes.
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Mr. Templeton.
Yes.
And can we have a motion for approval of the minutes from July 17th, 2023?
So moved.
I think you have the second.
Oh, you both were out, right? All right,
Yeah.
can I guess I can second that, sure. Roll call?
Mr. Bartlett.
Yes?
Mr. Olet.
Abstain?
Ms. Seuss.
Yes.
Mr. Templeton.
Abstain.
Mrs. Pat, just absent,
So
okay?
does that count as pass?
Yeah, it's a majority, well, it's actually not a majority. We might have to bring these back when Kate is
You
back.
look into that and
actually.
let us know.
We'll reschedule these, actually. I
Majority of
did-
the people who were there.
Yeah,
that night,
it's
I don't know.
two with one abstention, does not adopt the minutes, does not approve the minutes. So we'll bring these back on the September
Okay.
meeting.
We have to do a do-over, huh?
Yeah, we have to do a do-over.
You guys can't take a
That-
vacation
that's
together
okay.
anymore.
That's okay. Yeah, two with one, well, 2 yeses, 2 abstains, and an absent is actually not approving them.
Who's on
So
first?
We'll bring these back, exactly. That's okay.
All right.
You were on the West Coast, I was on the East Coast.
All right. Do we have any correspondence?
No, I had mentioned the league, and I just wanted to also report that, our letter of intent to participate in the Burlington County, Regional Hazardous Mitigation Plan update has been filed with the County Office of Emergency Management, so we will be part of that process for
All
that
right.
plan. Okay?
Very good. Thank you much.
And that's all I have. Fun, yes.
And let's see. Aaron, I skipped you earlier. Did you have anything you need to report? All right. Okay, we'll open the meeting to the public for comments and questions, session number 2.
Okay, thank you. I'll be quick. Peter Fritz, 303 Union Avenue, and I speak on behalf of the Delanco History Board. I just wanted to thank you for passing the resolution tonight in support of our grant proposal for next year, and thank you for your continued support for all the work that we're doing. I really appreciate it. And looking around up here, I think all of you participate on the board in some fashion, and we really appreciate the cooperation that we've had. And for this year's grant as well, especially I'd like to mention Richard Schwab, that's been very helpful in all of the basis of preparation for the grant that we're doing this year, as well as next year. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Mr. Jenkins,
My turn.
Senior.
Bill Jenkins, 415 3rd Street. The zoning officer. I understand the purpose of the zoning officer, and I understand what his job is. What you see from your point of view and your perspective is a gentleman that's going out, getting a lot of results. You might see a lot of people showing up in court. What I'm hearing from the other end is from public in the street where there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'll give you a prime example. I just pulled an S10 Blazer out of a guy's backyard. The zoning guy didn't know about it. I made a couple bucks for him, I made a couple bucks for me. There's other ways of going about doing things. You can get more flies with honey than you can with vinegar. And, my son in case, getting a ticket when he's not even living in the house, I think is ridiculous. I think there's just some other ways that could be handled by the zoning, which would be more friendly to the residents of town. And I just think that's something that needs to be looked into a little bit more. That's all I have to say.
Thank you, Phil. Other Phil.
Yeah, on the road, right?
Yeah.
Phil McFadden, 410 Maple Ave, Delanco, New Jersey. Could you reiterate what your comment was? Because when you went to speak, turned this way in reference to the grant?
Yeah. No, the state budget line item, Township of Delanco, Creek Road Field Improvements, period.
Okay.
And according to Senator Singleton, it's for field improvements
Right.
out there. Yeah.
And the improvement that we came up with was the lights.
Okay, but we've never discussed that.
Mike,
We've never had. You've never come
It's
forward.
in the budget. Now, all right, let's go.
That was.
You want to talk about discussion items, okay?
Well,
now, I try. I try to sit back here and not say nothing. Let's talk about the shade tree grant. Did the shade tree come to you and say that we're spending $120,000 of taxpayer money? Did they, when you were the mayor? Talk to me.
Well,
Was that a discussion that was brought up?
that was probably 2-3 years ago, yes.
It wasn't, because you were shocked when Bill stood up and said, we got the grant.
We're mixing apples and oranges and trees and
You
everything.
love that conversation when you always have to come up with that answer.
Well,
It's the same thing.
no, it's not.
It is, Mike.
No.
It might not be same to you, but it is to every other person.
That's how we do things.
Oh, yeah, you go ahead and
You
spend
come in and you
$120,000
make it-
and then come to township
Yeah.
and then have township hurry up and scramble and pass an ordinance to approve that they do it after the fact.
Are we going to stick to the topic, or are you going to wander all over the place? Okay?
Thank you, Mr.
The process
McFadden.
is if there's a plan or a project, somebody makes a presentation, they do their homework, the committee looks at it, we do our homework, and we talk about it, and we vet,
Did that happen
we
with Shade Tree?
we get prices.
Did that happen with Shade Tree? The grant? Did it?
Yeah.
When? All the meetings I've been here.
Okay.
No.
All right.
Phil, you made your point.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other members of the public whose name is Phil or not Phil? Either way. Nope. All right. Discussion items. We don't have anything further on there. You do?
Yes.
Okay.
Just throw it out there.
Sure.
The electric vehicles, at some point, we have to start doing some homework on that. And there was a memo that had been sent out saying the township committee members would be interested in getting involved as far as research, et cetera, for electric vehicles in our town. I will put my foot forward, or raise my hand and volunteer for that. And,
I know
we can have
Michelle-
that further discussion too.
Yeah, Michelle's working on that, our planner. She has a whole part of the master plan review, she's putting something in there for electric vehicles, because it's part of what the state requires, I believe, so. She's working on that, I'm gonna talk to her about that.
All right, thank you.
I think there was more as far as grants and things like that you'd be looking into as well.
Okay.
Okay.
So you're going to be the Energizer Bunny?
Yes.
All right. I don't believe we have another reason for executive session.
Oh, Mayor, I do have one more thing of business.
Okay.
Since our next meeting is actually September 11th, would the Township Committee please make a motion to authorize our Chief Financial Officer to pay any bills payable that may come due in advance of the September 11th meeting, where failure to miss any deadlines would result in interest penalties to us. Since there is a little bit more of a gap in between the meetings.
That's fine, I would make that motion.
Second.
All right. Need a...
All in favor? All in favor,
Aye.
that's fine. Thank you. Any nays? Nope,
No.
thank you
I
very
think we're all
much.
good.
Motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Is that a motion you're seconding?
Yeah.
I think we're all in favor, right?
Who was the second? I'm sorry.
Go for Carolyn, then Fern.
You got it.
Have a good night, everyone.